Hi everyone, I'm here today with a Q&A video. This one is themed around dating, marriage, relationship. It's kind of a little bit of a different Q&A. I know I have had some dating questions in the past, but this one is especially just on dating, relationships, and marriage, all of that fun stuff. And I also partnered with Match.com, which was really exciting. So if you are not familiar with Match.com, basically it is an online dating site. They do have an app for your iPhone or Android as well. But basically what it is it's an online dating. And I have gotten a lot of questions in the past about how I feel about online dating. I feel like it's so much more normal and acceptable now. And I know my parents didn't really understand the online dating thing, but for me, it would be something if I wasn't getting married, if I wasn't engaged, if I wasn't in a relationship, I would definitely do online dating because honestly, I work from home. I am a single mom and I don't go to the bars, or we don't have nightclubs, but I don't do the bar scene. And so it's really hard to meet new people, especially if you work from home or you're home all the time and you don't really have a bunch of new people that you're constantly meeting. I love. And so I've had a lot of friends who have actually used Match.com and have had awesome success with it, and they're in long-term relationships. Some of them are even married. And so I think it's great. I love that you're able to view profiles, you're able to view pictures. Although looks are not the only thing that matters, I think that first physical attraction and being physically and visually attracted to the person you're with, I think that's important. It's not the number one thing, but it's definitely important. So being able to see what the person looks like, their interests, being able to see a little bit into their life and kind of vet the person. I watch way too much political dramas, but vetting the person before you go on a date and getting to know them. And I feel like with the way technology kind of rules our world nowadays, and we are always on our phones, on our computers, we're always plugged into social media. It's just another way to meet people, and even if it's not a love connection, you can still make some great friends out of it. And I think it's fantastic. So thank you Match.com for partnering with me on this dating and relationship video. I do have a 7-day free trial for anyone who is interested in maybe trying to find a love connection. I will leave that down in the description box below. And let's get into your questions. First one is, how and when did you know that he was the one? And I'm assuming that you mean Ted. You know, when I first met Ted and I walked into that coffee shop, and I don't know, there was just this instant connection. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I had been on a ton of dates in the previous 2 years, and so, you know, I just never had that feeling, that spark, and I just felt it. I felt it in my heart. There was just peace over the situation, excitement, but also I just felt like something was so different. And I just had that feeling of I want to see more of you. I want to hang out with you more. I want to spend all my time with you. And I think that that's a really good indication of a good connection. We both felt the same way. The conversation just kept going. There was never this awkwardness. And I just felt it. And there was one day at church, it was probably a month or so into us dating, and it was during worship, and I've been to church for, 10 years, and I've seen plenty of people worship, and there was something about when I looked over at him, I just felt this overwhelming, this is the man that I have for you. And, I've never been somebody that's God spoke to me, and it was this big voice, fatherly voice saying, this is the man I have for you. Some people experience that. I didn't. That's not quite how I experienced the Lord speaking to me, but I felt an overwhelming peace, and in my heart I just knew this is the man that God has for me, and I'm so thankful that he is, because Ted is such an amazing man. So yeah, that is that's kind of when I knew for sure, but I feel I knew right away, love at first sight. I think I believe in that because that is totally how I felt with Ted. Next one is, how do you keep your relationship alive? That is so important. It is so important. I think that even if you are madly in love with the person that you are with, it still takes work. Keeping that spark alive still takes work. It's not gonna come naturally all the time. It is a choice, and every day you have to wake up and choose that person. You have to choose to love that person. You have to choose to pursue that person and respect that person and continue to date that person even when you're married. And I think that a lot of marriages don't work because people just stop choosing the other person. They stop caring and they stop doing the things that they did when they were dating. And it then becomes like, well, I'm not happy. But you don't get married because you want to be happy. You get married because you want to commit your life to somebody. And I think when you start getting in the mindset of, I'm not happy, I'm not happy, I'm not happy, well, why are you not happy? What are you doing to make the relationship good? A lot of the times the answer is you're doing nothing. You're being selfish and you need to start loving the other person. So keeping it alive, go on dates. Go do the stuff that you did when you were dating that made the relationship so fun. I mean, you're never gonna know every single little thing about somebody, so there's still more things to learn. And you know, Pinterest is a great idea to look up fun date nights. Like if you always just go to dinner and a movie for a date, well, try doing something different. Maybe going for a walk and a picnic to go see the sunset, or going, you know, to a town over and having dinner or something like that. Just switch it up a little bit and just continue to like pursue the other person, because I think it's just so easy nowadays for everyone to just need instant gratification and be very self-absorbed about their happiness and not really looking at like, how can I make my partner happy? You know what I'm saying? And I say all of this out of experience because I was married and I got into that place, both of us did. We got into the place of like, you know, being selfish and looking at what the other person wasn't doing for us, rather than like, how can I love my partner best? And you know, when that happens, unfortunately, people do stupid stuff and marriages end. And so if you love your spouse and you want to keep your family together, you need to fight for your relationship and you need to fight for that connection, because you know, it's not going to last. It's not going to be a great, wonderful, exciting marriage if you just kind of do nothing. You know what I mean? The next question is it possible to stop loving or caring someone, I think caring for someone, even if they do everything you could possibly need and want? I think that, I mean, yes, I think that's totally true. I think that, you know, you can love and care for somebody so much, but if they're not willing to love you back and they're not willing to put in the effort, then yeah, I think that's totally possible. It's a super sucky situation, but I think it's totally possible. And that person either needs to decide like, you're worth fighting for and I'm going to put in the hard work to make this relationship work, or they need to leave, because it's really not fair for one person to be pouring into someone and having the other person just kind of like hang back and have their walls up. So I think that's like a deeper conversation. If this is a situation you're having in your life right now, it's a situation you really need to sit down with. And I am all for counseling. You know, I wish I would have done counseling in my previous relationship. I think it could have got to the root of a lot of issues that I was unaware of. And I think that it's really healthy to have like a neutral third person just kind of like talk to you. Because here's the other thing, maybe the way you're loving and caring for them is not how they receive it. If you've ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages, it's really good and you need to read it, because here's the thing, like my love language, I feel loved by words of affirmation. That's a huge one. I also kind of feel loved by gifts. I never thought I was a gift person, but I'm starting to find out that meaningful gifts actually make me feel very, very loved. Ted's love language is quality time. But all I'm doing is throwing gifts at him because I feel like that's how I feel loved. So I'm getting him all these gifts. Yeah, he likes the gifts, but that's not how he truly feels loved. So you need to figure out how your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, what makes them feel loved. Because then you need to step out of your comfort zone and love them in the way that they feel most loved. Does that make sense? Read the Love Languages book. It'll all make way more sense to you. It makes a healthy relationship. I think there's a lot of things. One is trust and honesty. The other one is safety, being able to feel safe with the person you're with, not necessarily just like, oh, I feel physically safe, but also like feeling safe with them having your heart, being able to be vulnerable, to feel safe that you can tell them like what's going on in your heart or your mind and know that they're still gonna love you through it and that they're gonna be understanding. I think being able to communicate is huge. And you know, one thing that Ted has like totally blown my world is like, I will come to him with like, hey, you said this or you did this and it offended me. And instead of him like coming at me and being all offended, he always comes and says, I'm so sorry, like that is not my heart and my intention to ever hurt you. I'm so sorry, do you forgive me? Like every conversation, that is how he approaches it. I've never experienced that in my life before. I've never had somebody, like if you tell them, hey, you've offended me, or hey, that really hurt my feelings, most of the time people get really offensive, and he never gets offensive, and he's always just soft-hearted and like, I'm so sorry, do you forgive me? And like it just totally changed my world and how to communicate, because that has never been my experience with communication. So I just think that being able to be soft-hearted and knowing that you are for each other when you communicate is huge. I think it takes down the arguing, the fighting, the yelling. Like, I don't think Ted and I in a year and a half have ever yelled. I don't think an argument has ever had a voice raised. He diffuses like any kind of thing that could be an argument. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to argue with you, but he doesn't argue. He is just very calm and level-headed and understanding and soft-hearted, and it's taught me a lot, and it's really inspired me and challenged me in any confrontational situation to like come at it soft-hearted and calm. And yeah, I mean, he has totally like challenged me in the best ways possible in that. You obviously want to have fun with each other, have things in common, keep the relationship spicy, like spice it up, do fun stuff together. So those are things I think that make a healthy relationship. All right, will you be having more children? Heck yes. I've had baby fever for 2.5 years. So like I've been ready to like be making babies. So I think we might talk about it in August. I mean, that's when I would like to start talking about it. You know, I just turned 30, so my time is like ticking away on how long I have to have kids. I want 2, maybe 3 more. He wants 3, maybe 4 more. He's turning 24 in November, so we're like 6.5 years apart. So I know he's like just starting to get his career started, and I'm like, I am running out of prime time for baby making, so we gotta get on it. Do you remember the first thing you both said to each other? Hashtag love this relationship. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, the first thing I think we said to each other was like, hi, are you Ted? Are you Cassie? I didn't have my glasses on, and so we met, like I knew what he looked like, and he knew what I looked like from our Facebook pictures. And so I walked into the stirring coffee house, and it was sunny out. So when I walked in there, it was like kind of dark. I didn't have my glasses on, and I'm like, I sure hope that he like recognizes me and comes up to me, because I can't see anything right now. So he came up to me, and he was like 6'2" and great style. His hair, oh my God, he was so hot. Oh, he was so hot. So he walked up to me, and I was like, hi. And he's like, hi, and we hugged, and then we like went and sat down, and then just started talking, and it was all just very normal, and it wasn't awkward. We didn't really know each other. We'd been texting for the night before, but that's it. So I'm sure our first words were like, hi, and in my head I'm thinking, holy crap, this guy is so hot. That's all I could think about. Tall, dark, and handsome. Whew, thank you, Lord. The relationship with Ted and Ethan, did it take a while for them to meet, and how's their relationship? Now, it was probably like a month and a half before they met. I wanted to make sure that I really had strong feelings for Ted. I wanted to make sure that like it was something that I saw going somewhere. And like I said before, like I just knew from the first day we hung out, like I just wanted to hang out with him more. And we hung out every single day. We hung out while Ethan was at school. I hung out with him when Ethan was with his dad. Like I really, really fell for him pretty hard, pretty quickly. We both did. And so I knew that I was like falling in love with him. We had talked about like, you know, the fact that we were falling in love with each other. So we actually had a really big talk before he met Ethan, and he had said like, here's the thing, like we really, really like each other. And I think we knew, yeah, this is like it for us. Like we wanted to be married to each other eventually. And he had said, you know, if I can't love Ethan like in a fierce love like you love Ethan, then this will never work. And I as much as that, like, I'm like, oh, that kind of hurts. As much as that kind of like stung a little bit, I was very thankful that he said that, because I would never want somebody to marry me or be in my life that couldn't love Ethan. And I mean, I have a fierce, fierce love for that boy. I don't know if anyone can ever love Ethan as much as I do, but he's pretty darn close. You guys have seen Ethan in videos before. You've seen him on my Snapchat and Instagram. He is the most amazing, funny, loving, kind, hilarious. He is just the most perfect little boy. And I mean that, like, as much as he drives me crazy, sometimes he is the most perfect little boy. God bless me with the most amazing, perfect, perfect little boy. And so I knew, like, there's no way that this guy isn't going to love Ethan, because who doesn't love Ethan? Like, he's amazing. So, I mean, everyone who comes in contact with Ethan, I swear their life is blessed, because he is just, he's gonna do amazing things in his life. And, oh gosh, it makes me emotional thinking about that. But it honestly didn't take very long. And I kind of just let their relationship develop naturally. Like, I didn't put any pressure on Ted to try to like be a father figure, but I also kind of like left it open to see how he handled it. So it was kind of like a no pressure situation, and he just kind of naturally fell into like a father role with Ethan, and it just happened very like organically and naturally. And I remember so vividly, oh my gosh, there was this one moment that was so precious. We were grocery shopping with Ethan. Ethan was in the cart, Ted was pushing the cart, and I was grabbing something off one of the shelves, and I looked over, and Ted was like leaning over and kissing Ethan's forehead. And I was like, I am so in love with this man. Oh my God, it was so precious. And I remember one time, Ted tucking Ethan in at night. Gosh, see, look at my eyes are watering. Ted went and tucked Ethan in at night and did prayers with him, and then he came out into the living room and he goes, I am so in love with that little boy. And his eyes were like so teary-eyed. And it was like, I don't know, even if you are with the father of your children, there's nothing sexier than seeing a man be good to your kids. And so seeing Ethan and Ted interact together, like, there's nothing sexier than a man who is good to your kids. I mean, I watch him do homework with him and play ball with him and, you know, wrestle with him. And it's just like, I don't know, it just touches your heart, especially if you're a single mom. Anyways, that's got me all emotional. Let's move on to the next question. A question about how we met. I actually have a whole other Q&A with Ted on that, so I will try to remember to link that below because it's like a whole long story. Next question is pros and cons of moving in together. How do you work your financial situations together? We don't live together. We will when we get married. And so we've already talked about a lot of that once we get married. We're just gonna have a joint bank account because I just believe in having joint bank accounts when you're married. Our wedding date is May 13th, the day before Mother's Day. I really wanted May 6th, but our photographer wasn't available on that day. And one of our groomsmen is gonna be in Israel, so we had to do May 13th, which is gonna be a perfect day anyways. Also got questions on if I do a video series about dating and being a single mom, what I did, the lessons I learned, and how to improve your self-esteem after a relationship. I've actually really thought about doing that. I wanted to meet with Ethan's stepmom before I did any sort of video series on healing and going through a divorce and being a single mom and forgiveness. Like, I feel like I've been given a really amazing platform to kind of share my experience because my situation was really crappy and really painful, and there was a lot of growth through it. And so there was just kind of this like one little piece of the puzzle, which was meeting with Ethan's stepmom. It had been 3 years since I had seen her, and you know, she went from being in my life for a very long time, 10 years, to then not seeing her for 3 years. And so I felt like I couldn't quite talk about healing and talk about what happened or how I like got through that until I had that like little piece of the puzzle finished. And now it is, and there's been like a lot of closure in that, and it's still a healing process and there's still growth that can come from that. But I feel like I'm finally now able to kind of share the different parts and make a little series out of it, because I really just want to do like a series on the process and not necessarily what happened, because I think what happened is kind of irrelevant. I mean, people get divorced for all sorts of reasons, but I really kind of wanted to talk about like divorce, especially like divorce and affairs, because I feel like getting a divorce already sucks, but when you get a divorce due to an affair, I feel like there is a lot of self-esteem stuff that comes with that. There's a lot of, I know I struggled with like, am I not pretty enough? What does she have that I don't have? What did I do wrong? You know, and it kind of left me with like this abandonment feeling, which has been something like I've struggled with, and that kind of also stems back to like my childhood, because my biological dad, gave me up for my stepdad to adopt me. And I don't feel like that ever really affected me until I went through my divorce, and then I was like, why is nobody fighting for me? So that brought on a whole bunch of issues. But I feel like that could be super helpful on how I processed through that, how I've kind of like healed and worked through that stuff. So yes, I want to do a series on that. I think it'd be very, very helpful. And so I am just kind of now at the point where I feel like I can sit down and talk about it. So I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to structure those videos. But I want to get it all done before I get married, because once I get married, I want to talk about my divorce. I don't want to talk about, you know, any of that stuff, because it's like a new chapter, and I just want to talk about my lovely marriage and my new little family. So I want to get it all done and up before the wedding. So that will be coming. If you have suggestions on how I should structure that series, let me know. Like if there's categories or whatever that you guys would like to see that would be helpful for you, please let me know. How is co-parenting going? It is going well. I feel like Ethan's father and I have had a good co-parenting relationship for a couple years now, for the last two years. Ted is just like my like steady, calm person. So he always like brings me back down when I like go on a tangent about something. He always like reels me back in, brings me centered again. So it's going good. You know, there's always going to be challenges and little blips along the way, but overall I feel like we have a very healthy and really good co-parenting relationship. So anyways guys, I think that is it for this dating, relationship, marriage Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much Match.com for sponsoring and partnering with me on this video. I do have a 7-day free link code down in the description box. So if you're interested in checking out Match.com, you can use my link, and maybe you'll get lucky and you'll find love. And you can like window shop for attractive men who have similar interests, and maybe you can have a love connection. I mean, I think that sounds like a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!